So I hope that this works. Sorry, we had a little rotate the screen. Oh. Sorry for this. We'll cut it off afterwards.
Yeah. Okay, so welcome everybody to the second meeting of the gratitude track and the first real teaching of Marie-Christine. My name is also Marie-Christine. Last time we were both the MCs, but today she will do the teaching about the power of gratitude. So she will start, and then we have first this teaching, and then afterwards with all of you we have the little groups. And what's nice to say is that last time we saw that 30% of the people watched the beginning of the track from outside of the Netherlands. So we know that there's quite a lot of international people also watching, so welcome to you all. And let's give the floor to MC.
Thank you. And it's so nice to see so many new faces as well, and also faces that I saw last week. So thanks all for coming, also for the people online, of course. Once there was a blind boy that sat on the steps of a building with a hat by his feet. He held up a sign which read, "I am blind, please help." There were only a few coins in the hat, spare change from folks as they hurried past. A man was walking by. He took a few coins from his pocket and dropped them into the hat. He then took the sign, turned it around and wrote some words. Then he put back the sign in the boy's hands so that everybody who walked by would see the new words. Soon the hat began to fill up. A lot more people were giving money to the blind boy. That afternoon, the man who had changed the sign turned to see how things were. The boy recognized his footsteps and asked, "Were you the one who changed my sign this morning? What did you write?" The man said, "I only wrote the truth. I said what you said, but in a different way." He wrote, "Today is a beautiful day, but I cannot see it." Both signs spoke the truth, but the first sign simply said the boy was blind, while the second sign conveyed to everyone walking by how grateful they should be to see. So today I will give a talk about the power of gratitude. I'm really grateful to do this, but you have to know that I'm as much a participant as you are. I'm here to explain some theory, but when it comes to the virtue of gratitude in practice, I still have a lot to improve. So I'm very excited to do this track with you and to grow together in gratitude. So great to see that our community is also growing. For those who don't know me, my name is Marie-Christine, MC, and I work as a children's rights jurist for Defense for Children. So I'm not the only jurist, she's also a lawyer, but you're psychologist, dancer. Oh yeah, sorry. Otherwise the people online won't see me. Many more. A doctor as well in our team, so we have many different people with different professions in our team. Before we start with the fireworks benefits, I would like to see if all of you have the booklets open on one page, on the first page, and have their pens ready. Unfortunately, I cannot check online if the people have their booklets ready. Maybe they have it in a Word document, but please open it and look at page 1, where we start with a fireworks of benefits. Because during the talk that I will give, it's up to you guys to fill out the gaps So make sure you listen carefully and you read along also in your booklets while I'm speaking, because you will see that the structure of my talk is actually in the book, so it's easier for you to follow. So a fireworks of benefits. I will start actually drawing. Can everybody read it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Great. So we start off with the first, benefits to the body. In positive psychology research, there are many studies about gratitude and its positive effects. In one of the studies, researchers asked participants to write a few sentences weekly on certain topics. In the topics ranged from what they were grateful for to what irritations they had encountered that week. After 10 weeks, the researchers found that the participants who wrote about gratitude were more hopeful about the future. They exercised more and took better care of their health, had lower stress, and had improved immune systems as a result of being thankful. Even better blood pressure, decreased aging, better sleep, and positive effects on the heart have been linked to gratitude. It's also proven that it increases the lifespan. So I'm going to draw here. The first is the body.
Sorry, I just need to refix you because if not, people are having difficulties in looking at you.
Okay.
So you have to move so that people can
Like
see.
that? Okay. Sorry, this is only the second gathering, so next week it will improve, and then the week after it will be almost perfect. I would like to share with you...
Je moet zorgen dat je erin staat.
So?
Ja. Dan kun je ze meteen aankijken.
Oh yeah, sorry. I sometimes forget that there are people online are watching as well. Okay. So I would like to share with you a concrete example in my own life. When I was preparing this talk and learning more about the benefits of gratitude on the body, I immediately thought about my own 4 grandparents. Each grandparent couple consists of a caregiver and a cared one. On both sides, one of the grandparents had a near-to-death experience. My grandmother about 50 years ago and my Hungarian grandfather about 7 years ago. For the medical world, it was in both cases an absolute miracle that they did not die and that they are up till today still alive. When I talked recently to both of my grandparents, they expressed their immense gratitude for the life of their spouse. Both the caring grandparents are in such a good physical shape that I keep wondering whether they're actually aging. On the other hand, I wonder whether the 2 cared for grandparents, who give in return their gratitude, are only alive because of the care and the love of their spouse. Now we come to the second benefit, the benefit on the psyche and the mind. Gratitude improves pleasant feelings such as joy, love, happiness, and the feeling of being alive, present in the moment. It decreases unpleasant feelings such as stress, sadness, anxiety, despair, depression, and suicide risk. Gratitude also strengthens the will. It helps to achieve one's goals. It gives energy, increases self-love, increases motivation, gives meaning to life, and confidence in the future. Did you all write in the book already? Because great. Just checking. There's a study from 2001 that consisted of a large research involving 180 nuns. All nuns had similar lifestyle, diet, and schedule. The researchers instructed to the nuns to write essays the moment they entered into their religious order. Then at the age of 40, and then at the age of 70. The nuns wrote about themselves and their life from childhood to present day, and their hopes and dreams for their lives. The nuns were unaware that their essays would be analyzed for a happiness study. The researchers analyzed the vocabulary of the letters, words that convey wonder, gratitude, thankfulness, and found that about 50 years later, 90% of the happiest nuns lived past 85 years old, and only 34 scored at the least happy, lived past 85. Sisters in gratitude have on average a life longer of 7 years. So, lucky you. Finally, gratitude is financially favorable. It decreases the feeling of inner emptiness and thus reduces compensational behaviors by overconsumption, compulsive purchases, overeating, spending too much time on social media, you know, that feeling of endless scrolling, watching too many series in bed, oversleeping, like snoozing in the morning way too long. I'm guilty of that. And probably you recognize yourself also in this overconsumption. About a month ago, I realized that a friend was not doing so well when I called her, and she told me that she was feeling unhappy because she was uncertain about the future, she was uncertain about her job, she didn't really like the job, and she had difficulty in finding a new room because her old room she had to leave. So I really felt that she was not the same person that I knew. And then at some point we talked about gratitude, and I also talked about the gratitude track, of course. And then we had a really, really wonderful talk about gratitude. And then about 2 weeks ago, so before we started the gratitude track actually, she called me again, she first sent me a voice message and she said, oh, I lost again a room that she had applied for. So I thought that again she would feel really, really, really sad. And then she said but actually I'm really positive because I want to change my attitude to be positive. So the way she told me that she lost the room was really happy, and I was really surprised. So then I called her and I was like, wow, what happened? And then she said, yeah, on a Monday morning, I woke up and I wanted to change my life. And I was like, wow, that's so beautiful, but how? And she's just like, yeah, I just wanted to change my point, my view on life. And I started to go running in the morning. Then I started to do like a cooking group on Thursday evenings. And she sounded so happy, and she's such a beautiful example of a person that tries to look for gratitude in her life, because she told me that because she's grateful, actually the things that are difficult in her life, the uncertainties are still there, the job is still there that she doesn't like, there's still the room to be found, but she can lift those things up with a positive attitude and she can carry them. It was a really, really beautiful example, and I think she's already on the good path. I'm really proud of her that she from one day to another she changed. But then she also said it's very important to take that decision every day. It's not that because I take that decision now that it will be easy in 2 days. So it's every day a renewal of, yes, I will go for it and I will be grateful. And so I think that's also why this track can be so beneficial also to us. So then we move on to 3. So this is first one, second one, 3. That is, okay, I'm writing too big, but I hope you can. Relational benefits. Gratitude improves relationships with others. It increases a climate of joy and peace, facilitates communication, increases attention to others, and promotes generosity and forgiveness. On the other hand, it reduces violence and self-isolation. Gratitude also benefits the life of a couple because it strengthens and deepens their relationship. It provides the gift of self, which is at the heart of love. It's a factor that increases the durability of the couple, because the couple is envisioned to the other instead of oneself. In my couple, my fiancé, who is hopefully listening from the French Alps, teaches me to express words of gratitude. He's extremely good with expressing his gratitude towards me, even for the smallest things, like when I prepare a homemade pizza for him. He says, "Thank you so much," and he really expresses it.
That's
Or
small.
well, for a French, it's small. Or when I drop him off at the station, or when we have a small talk on the phone, every time he thanks me for that. And in the beginning, I felt so much wonder and happiness just by these little words of thanks. And actually, I started to do the same, and I still have to work on it. And he's far ahead of me, but I think he really motivates me to do this on a daily basis. A couple is never without struggle and disagreements, but I learned from him that the simplest word of thank or compliment can transform a difficult conversation into a good and fruitful one. So, the relational benefits. It also benefits the workplace. It contributes greatly to a good atmosphere. It increases the motivation and efficiency of the teams. A manager that gives compliments and writes personal notes is key. And I actually also had a talk about this with a friend the other day. And she told me that, she was having more and more responsibilities and she really, really liked her job. But the thing that she found difficult is that her manager is actually really critical. So he says what's going wrong, but he doesn't say what's going right. And then she told me, if he just would give me a little compliment, I would be so much more motivated to do my work well. So I was like, that's actually so true for all of us. And when I speak for myself, for my job at Defense for Children, I'm really happy that our manager, she's doing a great job in writing personal notes to the employees. So I feel really grateful that we're really treated in a good way. And I feel that all my colleagues, they're really motivated at our NGO. So the attitude of gratitude also contributes to and nourishes the bond between people. It allows for a change of perspective on situations. It unifies and pacifies. It increases social integration. The more a person is used to express gratitude, the more he or she is appreciated. Gratitude promotes reciprocity and trust between people. So maybe, like when we talk about those different topics, like the work floor, the relationships, the friendships, maybe that's also a good thing to discuss during the small groups later on. So just to give you a little idea what you can talk about. Then the fourth one is the benefit on the relationship with God. Gratitude helps the relationship with God by pulling us out of materialism. Gratitude is at the heart of Christian life. It is at the heart of the Christian vision of the world. Everything came out of God. God created everything out of love. And everything returns to God. Even on the creatures, if each of the creatures returns to God according to his own order. As spiritual creatures, we return to God in praise and thanksgiving. The most proper work of God is to pour out his blessings. The most proper work of creation is to pour out thanksgiving, since it can offer nothing more than this in exchange. Let us give thanks to him, and let us do so every day. Gratitude turns us also into a better person. That's also something that you can write down in your notebooks. Because I have been given, I enter into gratitude, and this stimulates in me the desire to give back. Gratitude leads me to do the same and leads others to do the same. Gratitude increases altruistic behavior, even towards people who have given us nothing or whom we will never see again. You remember the story of the blind boy? Another beautiful example is a story that happened in a restaurant in Philadelphia. Two friends were having dinner together, and when they were about to pay, the waitress told them that a couple who just had left paid for them. The two friends were stunned and spontaneously decided to pay for someone else. One of the waitresses testified with tears in her eyes that this wave of generosity went on for 5 hours. Not only were people paying for others, but they didn't care about the price and even left a generous tip. Well, gratitude really changes the world. And then gratitude and praise. Gratitude and praise feeds each other. We could say that praise is the expression of gratitude. Gratitude is the first of this inner attitude of our hearts, which is grateful for a blessing. This inner movement gives rise to an outer movement of thanks and praise towards the Creator, from whom all blessings come. In its turn, this movement of praise increases our recognition of the blessings. It is a virtuous circle. Gratitude translates into praise, praise makes our gratitude grow. All this makes gratitude the most beneficial inner attitude. Now we move on to the 3 stages of gratitude, and I will flip my thing here. Can you all read it in the back as well? No? Okay, sorry. But you can read it in your booklets. Gratitude is a response to a blessing. It's an act that takes place in 3 steps. The first one is acknowledge. Acknowledge that I have received a blessing. Gratitude is born from the awareness of a blessing. I become aware that I have received something good, a help or a gift from others. The second one is to feel, to be touched by the emotion. I feel an emotion, gratitude, wonder, recognition, joy. And when I become aware of the benefit I receive, I take the time to feel this emotion. And then the third one is thanks. Is giving thanks to the benefit or blessing. I am moved inwardly to act. I give thanks for the benefit blessing. I thank the person to whom I owe this benefit. I rejoice in what I have received. So those 3 stages correspond to 3 faculties of the human being. Actually, I wrote them already down. The first is recognition, and it corresponds to intelligence. And that's the head. Then the second one is the emotion, and that corresponds to the affectivity, so that's the heart. Especially for Isabella, I will use some colors. So the heart, of course, is red. Is that okay for you?
Perfect, thank you.
And then the third one is the thanks, which corresponds to the will. And that's the symbol for that is the hand. And I think you have the overview in your book. So again, if you cannot read it, you can see it in your book. So that's the will that corresponds to the hand. So let's do, now that we have become an expert on the theory of the power of gratitude, I would like to put it already in practice so we can feel the power of gratitude in our life and start to cultivate this virtue. Before we do this exercise, I want to tell you, it's okay the way you are. You don't have to change anything for God to love you. He already loves you now as you are. For this, we can have gratitude already now. I would like you to allow yourself to have gratitude with what you have experienced in your past, with who you are today, with what you have done or not done. You have the right to be in gratitude today. I say this because sometimes we have inner rules, judgments about ourselves, blocks, and we can say to ourselves, I don't have the right to be in gratitude because I've lived this, because I did that, because that's the way it is, and I will always have misfortunes. Let's pull all of this down. I allow myself to have gratitude. I have the right. Having said this, we can start with the exercise. We will do an act of gratitude towards a great moment in our lives. And I'll ask you to relax and just sit straight and close your eyes. Breathe normally from the depth of your belly and not from the chest. And try to concentrate first on your breath. First, I remember a moment when I received a benefit. Let there be a second moment when you say to yourself, I am lucky, my life is beautiful. And then, let that moment appear that you want to remember. Where was I? Who was I with? What did I hear? What did I see? What made that moment great? How did I feel? Make sure that the memory is as detailed and precise as possible. Then we move to the second step, the taste or the emotion. What was my emotion at that moment? Bring up that same emotion and taste, that feeling. Was it joy, amazement, wonder, gratitude? And then we move to the third step. Give thanks. I give thanks to the person to whom I owe this benefit, or to God Himself. Thank you, Lord, for the change to experience this moment, to feel the gratitude growing in my heart, feeling that I'm beginning to change. Thank you for this journey that I will take with the Lord during this trek. Thank you for all the graces He will give me. Thank you for the changes that He will allow me to experience, for the state of gratitude that He will help me to live a more fulfilled life. And then you can open your eyes again. So this little exercise is actually to help you when you, for instance, you write in your little notebook that maybe you started already. And every time you write a memory down that you're thankful for, you can use those 3 steps to recognize it and then feel it and then give thanks for it. So then we move on to the 3rd chapter or 3rd paragraph, how to become people inhabited by gratitude. Everybody has his booklet ready? Great. Repeat small exercises of gratitude over and over again. To become inhabited by gratitude, we will do a multiple of small exercises of gratitude, here and at home, so that by the power of repetition, the habit becomes imprinted in us and becomes like our second nature. Repetition creates transformation. Virtue develops like a muscle. By the power of repetition, we transform ourselves. So who already started the gratitude notebook? Raise your hands. Okay, so that's half of it. Did you manage already to write down every day 3 things that you're grateful for? Because when I speak for myself, sometimes I forget. And in the beginning, it can feel a bit artificial, like a driving lesson, you know, when you do everything because of the rules that you have to follow. But trust me, the more you do it, the more you get used to it, and it becomes a habit. So when you write something down, try first to remember, then to feel, you connect, and in the end you thank. That's the process. And did you already share the things that you're grateful for? Who already shared some grateful moments? Well, then it's a great thing that we have the sharing groups tonight, because that's the moment that you can share. Then we move to the second point. It's a work of cooperation between God's grace and my efforts. So you can write down on the dots, God's grace and efforts. Giving you this away. The primacy of grace. Transforming myself to become a person of gratitude is the joint work of God's grace and my personal efforts. But even my efforts are already a work of grace. For it's God who works to produce in you the will and the action. It is therefore to God and all the merits of my virtues belong. It's therefore to God that all the merits of my virtues belong. There should be a balance between the pitfalls to avoid, voluntarism and laissez-faire. Maybe I should write down those words, because you have to write them in the book and it's quite difficult. So you have voluntarism versus laissez-faire. There are 2 symmetrical pitfalls or polarities. On the one hand, voluntarism, which consists in believing that I must rely on my own strength. On the other hand, laissez-faire, which consists in believing that God will do everything and that it's enough to pray. As a kid, I once tried this when I had to do an exam, and I thought, oh, I don't prepare, I'm just gonna pray to God and everything will be fine. Well, in the end, nothing was fine, so please don't try this. God, who created you without you, will not save you without you. Act as everything depends on you, knowing that in reality everything on God. So I will repeat for the booklets. Act as if everything depended on you, knowing that in reality everything depends on God. In fact, it's a matter of living both polarities to the fullest. I must put all my energy in transforming and converting myself while being well aware that the fruit is entirely a work of God. So now we are at the last page of your booklet, and who can fill out the gaps? There's 3 steps. 1, 2, 3 for the stages of gratitude. What's the first step? Yes?
Recognize.
Yes, really good. Yeah, the first step is to recognize. The second one, anyone?
Feel.
Feel, exactly. Taste, feel the emotion, exactly. And then the third one, the easiest one, Thanksgiving, exactly. Well, congratulations for coming today. You can be proud of yourself, of the step that you have taken to follow this track, of the changes that will take place in your life because of the power of gratitude. And now I give the floor to Lisette. And yeah, this was the end of my talk, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much, Marie-Christine. Hello everybody, I'm Lisette, And it's very tempting now for us and also for the people who are watching online to now quickly go and do something else. We've finished this teaching, great. We can check it off our list. Great teaching, really great. And now I'm going to do the washing up, write an email, let out my dog. Or we can quickly go into the sharing groups, nice, meet each other and talk. But we're actually not going to do that. We're going to take a moment of time to receive, really receive what we have just received and to let it sink in. So I want to invite you, if you're online at this moment, just turn off your lights, make a nice atmosphere, light a candle, sit down, put your device away, click me away, and take time to let the words that Marie-Christine has just given to us, that are a blessing for our life, take time to receive them and ask the Holy Spirit to enlighten us in which direction He wants us to grow and which word can really bear fruit in our hearts for this evening. So we're going to be doing that here together, and please, I invite you to take your time at home to take this time of silence and reflection. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there, guys. So, really great that you joined us today. Sorry for the turning, I still have to learn this a little bit. So, if you've watched the teaching, we really want to encourage you to now call someone and share with him or her what you liked about the teaching, what it does with you, and maybe some moments of gratitude that you've lived. Thank you so much for joining us today, and see you next week. Bye-bye.